All right, Kiss Army, welcome to the KissFAQ Podcast. Thank you for giving us your time today and letting us into your head. I hope we don't do any damage. This is a Kiss-related podcast by the board, for the board. We hope that you enjoy. Welcome to episode 415 of the KissFAQ Podcast. Yeah, it's the usual crew back, so that should annoy at least one viewer. Miserable. Misery guts. No. What is it?
No.
Who was that one fella who said, why do you always have the same people on every week? Because I think we actually enjoy talking about Kiss together.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm here.
So yeah, me too. Let's just all fuck off and go back to our regular lives and, not talk about Kiss for a week. Anyway, this week we've got Mark Anthony K back, 69th Blizzard, and
Hello.
St. Louis Kiss Lonnie.
What's up?
So, gentlemen, I hope you're all well. We don't really have a topic this week. It was all going to be a little bit of randomness from the board, but I did want to give everyone a chance, now that you've had a week or so, just to listen to Donington to chime in on your thoughts on that, if you have any additional to what we mentioned in the last episode. Mark, I think you do.
Yes, I do. So I got the CD, okay, and from here on in until... Well, unless there's one that really tickles my fancy. I have the Tokyo, the first one, on vinyl as well.
Don't say tickle your fancy.
Tickles my fancy. I'm going to continue to just get them on CD, mainly because of one thing, and I think Julian might have touched on this as well, is that it's just such a pain in the ass getting up after 3 songs, flipping aside. 3 songs, 4 songs, flipping aside. Getting up. Having the CD like this makes for a much more enjoyable listening experience of the whole thing, I find. But I do want to make one comment about this. The show I thought was fantastic. Probably the most accurate, realistic sounding concert I heard of. None of this overdubbed, stuff here and there. No correcting stuff like, how they did in the old days where they put a modern Paul Stanley with a 75 recording sort of thing. So it sounds really good. The only thing I wish these guys would have did is I wish they would have toured with a dedicated guy who did the sound recording of this, because while it sounds really good, there are some things in it that I find a little, not annoying, but things that they could have fixed if they had a separate dedicated engineer that took care of the recording end of stuff. Leave the front of the house guy to do the front of the house sound and just feed the separate guy to a couple of ADATs or something, the other end of the board, and he can do the recording of the sound separately, because the drum set on this sounds good, but you got to admit, it's all kick, a bit of snare drum, a bit of hi-hat. There's 0 toms on this. When he does a tom roll, it's completely like, what is that? And cymbals, it's like, do, 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 do. Here comes a cymbal, no cymbal, just a duh. He's such a light hitter on this tour. There's no cymbals on this. The only time you hear a full kit from this is when he's by himself. God of Thunder at the beginning of Strutter. But other than that, Peter Criss is sort of buried a bit in this, but there's a lot of kick drum. And with that kick and Gene's fantastic bass sound on this album, that makes for a fantastic low end on this album. Overall, the sound of this thing is fantastic. I don't care that their voices get a bit hoarse in a couple of songs. It's realistic and accurate to me. I don't care that, there's a little blemish here and there. Fine. I don't care that we missed the do it. Paul's mic didn't work in that spot or something must have happened. I don't care about those kinds of things. Overall, the sound is great. I just wish they would have had somebody who did a separate dedicated mix of this to tape somehow, so they could have remixed it a bit better. Because like I said, the drum set is there, but there is no cymbals and there's hardly any toms at all on this. But overall, that is very minor. I think the set list is great. The performances is great. I'm glad they left everything in there, like the extended bits at the beginning for Black Diamond and all that stuff. I really, really, really enjoyed this album. I would give it, honestly, like a 10 out of 10.
Just imagine if they had ADATs from every
or
show
D88s
on this tour.
Yeah.
I would actually say 4 ADATs chained just to have all the mics from all of those things. I mean, there's definitely some miking issues, or actually, it's not miking issues because the mics are present on Peter's drum solo, so it is a mix issue, as you mentioned. But then again, like you say, he's a soft hitter during this tour. There is triggering involved in it.
Oh yeah.
Which in conjunction with the mix does leave that side. But I find the backbeat very appealing, and I'm even lazier than you. I'm going straight off the HD digital, so there's no tape flip. There's no CD flip. It is just straight from front to back. It's the show. Screw flipping the disc over 6 times for the LP, or changing CDs twice, or even ripping it from CD and having the fade out, fade in, or fade out, fade in, for the CD change. I'm getting these live shows from HD Tracks or Qbuzz or whatever. I can never remember the name of the one that I'm using now, but it's legit in terms of paying premium for it. But it's totally fun. And since that show came, everyone's been enjoying it. I haven't seen any chart action on it yet. But I haven't been paying attention this week. I've been really busy with shit. So I don't know. I hope it makes the top 200. Obviously makes the Billboard, just because it's another Kiss album on the U.S. charts, which is always, raise your fist and yell moment. But while we were doing that and talking about it, Amazon UK put up a pre-order for the next one, Des Moines, 1977. So I want to just go around the group and get your thoughts on that. It is November. It's a Live 2 Super Kiss. It is not Rock and Roll Over at the beginning of the year, because, of course, they were in Des Moines twice that year. It is not 2014 for people who are worried about that. We're, going to do 2 classic Kiss lineups in a row. One reunited, one very much at the top of their game, or near the top of their game, because I think it is debatable, Alive 2, whether that is still the top or that is coming down from the top. Lonnie, Des Moines, thoughts?
Very exciting. And very surprised. I didn't think they would dig this deep into their past, considering what they had put out on the 3 previous releases. Being 04, 01, 96, and then to jump all the way back to 77 and have another release with the classic original lineup. I was surprised. I really was. I was not expecting it. I was expecting something more of the early 90s, maybe early 80s type of vibe, type of release. But to go all the way back, and not only is the original lineup, but it's like really Kiss at their pinnacle. You could make the argument on the Alive 2 tour, they were never as big in America. I don't think they were ever as big in America, except for maybe the reunion tour, as they were on the Alive 2 tour. So to get that, and that kind of set list with the Alive 2 tour very heavy on Destroyer, Rock and Roll Over, Love Gun songs, is going to be really a lot of fun to get that and to hear that. I was surprised and excited. It's like, wow. I was kind of thinking they might let us down a little bit, that they wouldn't keep this rolling the way they have. Because to echo what Mark said, I mean, Donington's fantastic. It is just the perfect representation in my mind of what Kiss was in 1996. Warts and all, I'm glad it's not, polished up. I'm glad it is what it is. And I'm really excited to hear Des Moines 77. I mean, we've been asking for this for a long time just on this show. We've talked about things like this for the longest time. Like, why don't they do that? Why don't they do that? Well, they are. So Kiss fans, you guys, if someone gifts it to you through the internet for whatever reason, still go out and buy it, because the more you go out and buy it, the more we're going to get releases like this. And we've been asking for it for years, so let's keep them coming.
Yeah, you may not like every single one, but hell, you're a Kiss fan. Collect them all anyway. It doesn't mean you have to
It's the
listen
name of
to
the
them.
game.
Des Moines, November 77, pardon me, was only previously circulated as a really shitty audience recording, but it's a good performance. So I can't wait to hear it. Mark raises a good point about this soundboard, that soundboard, any soundboard, that it is down to, what the, you know, the mixes that night. So there is a high degree of variability that comes, even though something is called a soundboard. That's clear in Virginia Beach, that's clear for Tokyo, that's clear for Donington, that there is a difference in how it was mixed from the soundboard and what they captured it from, versus having the ability to go back to a multi-track, say like Inner Sanctum. They did over fucking dubs for Inner Sanctum. They went into a studio, I think it was in Sydney, and actually fixed shit up for that before they left Australia. So, it really, just because it's a soundboard doesn't mean that it is perfect. It really is capturing a performance and humans performing. I only have one thing with this, and it's just to hope that they don't do to those drums what they did to the Love Gun so-called deluxe drums. Just leave them as is. There are imperfections, there are warts. Where they are honest, they are very enjoyable because they are organic and they are part of the show. Ken, your thoughts on Des Moines?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I was surprised, just like Lonnie was, thinking that we maybe get 80s or later. So I'm quite interested in how that. I'm looking forward to when they put out a sample of the first song, right? So we can get an idea of how good it is. I'm wondering how close it was, that Des Moines show, to the LA shows. I mean, I wonder if they were really recording more soundboards and things in anticipation, maybe, for that Alive 2 record, that sort of thing. I don't know, but it's interesting. They could have been kind of testing and doing a bunch of soundboards on the tour, to maybe go back and listen to them and try to improve and see what they can do to improve for when they do the real recording for, like, in the LA Forum and so on, to capture for Alive 2. I'm wondering, it's possible they did something like that. I don't know. It's just an assumption. But yeah, I'm really interested in hearing it. I'm hoping it's going to be as good as, I guess, this, Donington sounds, which I haven't heard. I've just heard the sound, but I haven't gotten the vinyl yet. But yeah, I'm really interested in that about it. I'm glad they're going back to, like you said, Super Kiss.
Yeah, and think how great Largo 77 is.
Largo is good.
Obviously, that's a video, but the bootlegs of that circulated prior to those tracks being purloined off it for the, the garbage deluxe, really do sound good. So if they're able to take it in and tweak it in the studio and give it release quality sonic fidelity, then it's all good. Mark, back to you, back around circle to you.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised how quickly we already got information about this new one coming out. 77 is an era that I really liked. I had a couple of, old VHS from the day, the Houston ones, Night 1 and Night 2. And, when other things leaked on the internet, I made sure I checked it out. I'm really anxious to hear this one as well, for those same reasons about the sonics. Peter Criss is still very much an aggressive hitter at this time. I think it's going to be much more appealing sound-wise from that aspect of it, because I have a couple of bootlegs on vinyl. One is called Hydraulic Rock. I think it's 77 from San Francisco. That one that was out, and it's on vinyl. It sounds really good. I think it's a radio broadcast or a soundboard, but that performance is really good, and I think it's probably similar set list to this one here for the Des Moines, which is very the Love Gun stuff and all the usual standards of that time period. I love the sound of the band. Then Gene has already like perfected that super distorted, growly bass sound that he had for that time period, and the drum set is really lively and very echoey and very in your face. And the main thing I'm curious about in this is how they're going to approach the guitars, because for Donington, Paul was pretty decently in the mix. What I found in the old days is that the sound was very much a lot of Gene, a lot of Ace, and Paul sort of in the middle a little bit, back down, mainly because he's doing all those, he's dancing around and he's putting the guitar all over, swinging and posing. And so I don't think that they put him up as loud because, the guitar could be a little suspect maybe in parts when he does that. So I'm curious how they're going to do that, because I guarantee you they didn't bring a 2-track machine with them, I don't think, on tour for this. This is probably direct to cassette off the board, and then they're just doing a slap it in Pro Tools and refix it up as much as possible to get a good sound of it. But I'm not worried about that, because I heard some fantastic soundboards like that were direct from the board, just 2-track mix like that, and I think this could be one of them. I'm hoping it is. Maybe this is why they picked this particular show. So again, please leave in all this stuff, all the little chat bits and stuff like that. And I'm curious to hear Beth, because that's one thing that was missing, I guess, from Donington. I don't know if they actually did Beth in Donington. Maybe they didn't.
No, they didn't.
No. So it'll be curious to hear that performance, because since it's coming right from the board, you can hear the pre-recorded symphony a bit better and stuff like that. So it's going to be interesting to hear how these performances relate and compare to some of the other ones that we have already. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, one of the things that they did with Donington, obviously as a Brit, I love the logo on the front of the packaging because it represents my country. So you guys are, well, 2 of you are American. You understand patriotism. It's nice to see that Union flag on a KISS thing, especially with some of the stories I told you about the boycotts against me when I had that done for my website way back when. But some of these ads for the Alive 2 tour were the most spectacular. The show of shows was shouted out loud as an important part of it. The gatefold was integrated into those ads in black and white. So I hope they're able to riff on that on the cover and to give it, really that feel of this is the show of shows. This is that tour. I mean, obviously the soundboards, you guys have mentioned San Francisco. I don't think that's a soundboard. I think that's a really good audience. I think that one's one that is hotly contested in terms of how it was sourced. I don't know off the top of my head. Tarrant, Fort Worth, those ones surfaced a few years ago. The most recent ones from the very last shows of the Love Gun tour are absolutely spectacular, and they're raw and they're imperfect, and you can combine them, I think, to make a single show. I've heard some Alive 2 shows that are spectacular, board tapes that don't circulate, and some that are god awful. So I hope this one does justice to that tour, into what it is in our minds. That I hope it's as bombastic, because this is the tour that they recreated for the reunion. So it makes sense. And this has been on the release schedule for a while. I knew this one was coming, but I didn't remember where it fit in terms of the sequence amongst the list of prospective shows. And I say prospective because until it's officially announced, all bets are off. So I think it's exciting. I think it's good. I think it's positive. And, obviously, it's not like January 77, so it's kind of a bummer that you don't get a soundboard of Take Me. But maybe that leaves, there's still hope for Rock and Roll Party in Tokyo at some point, since hopefully they've got those multi-tracks from Eddie Kramer, the various versions. So I think if we're patient, we should get all those itches scratched in an appropriate way, which will be cool. It's all good. Hey, next one in the pipeline. Wow, the next few are in the pipeline, hopefully. So wait and see what happens. All right. Let's go into, Gene and Paul, and I guess the other guys. Australian 60 Minutes TV broadcast. That was up on YouTube pretty quickly as well. Mark.
What was that?
It's okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
What were you guys thoughts on this one? I mean, I was expecting the same old, same old. Lonnie, 60 minutes. You have a chance to watch?
I did. It was different. I enjoyed the fact that they were talking to Gene and Paul together, and them just kind of razzing on one another, as opposed to the separate interviews. Just to hear them just kind of trade lines off back and forth, and really show how at least it came off like they're they're really getting along at this stage in their career. Because we've seen some awkward interviews when the two of them are together, and they don't come off well. We've seen that revenge outtake around the revenge era, and they kind of go off on one another when the tapes stop rolling. And it was different. It wasn't revealing, or they didn't give us any kind of new information or anything like that. But it was it was decent. It was better than I thought it was going to be. But it was really cool to see them just together and showcase how their relationship is at this stage in their career.
Weren't they like a couple of brothers?
Yeah.
Right.
Just, that kind of relaxed brotherly banter that goes on. You bust each other's balls. I think one of the things I like the most in it is when Paul Stanley does a Gene Simmons line and kind of flirts with the female presenter, and then it goes to that statue that's face palming in Paris or whatever that was. I thought that was awesome. Talk about flipping the script a little bit and having Paul playing the role of Gene for a change. Just made it really interesting. No, there was nothing new and revealing whatsoever, other than they both seem very comfortable where they are at this point. And that, as a Kiss fan, made me happy to see those guys who've been part of my life for so long just letting the banter roll, joking with each other, kind of prodding and poking each other good-naturedly, and there were no hairs getting raised on the back of my neck with body language from either of them saying, "Oh, Paul's getting pissed at that," or "Gene doesn't like that." There was none of that, So respect to 60 Minutes for it's a fluff feast without any doubt, but it was entertaining fluff, and that's all I want out of Kiss at this time. I don't want the drama. Ken.
Yeah, it was good. Like I said, there's nothing new. I did like the fact that they didn't come across as they normally do, where they're trying to, it's always selling something. But they really weren't pushing that in this. I did like the woman interviewing, and she at one point said about Paul said something about to Gene about the crazy uncle, and then she said, "Oh, you're both of you are like crazy uncles," and I thought that was kind of funny. And Mark showing the makeup, Gene putting on makeup, it's kind of interesting. It's always, we've seen it before, kind of stuff, but I think a lot of people haven't seen them putting on the makeup and the sort of thing that they do. A lot of people don't know that they put on their own makeup. But yeah, there's really nothing new revealing, but yeah, the relaxed nature of them, the brotherly kind of thing going on between them, is really, to me, a positive thing. At this juncture, it's gone. I don't think, if they didn't get along at all, I don't think it would have made it this far in the first place. It would have ended, many years ago. So, but it's a nice little piece.
At this juncture, what do you Ace and so on and so forth?
I listen to Ace too much.
Mark.
Yeah, I did watch it too. It was a nice piece. Again, all the things that you guys said, I'll probably echo. It was nice to see them in a comfortable setting, chatting about it. I am grateful that while they did do a little bit of hitting on, it wasn't the creepy old man one where you kind of oh God, what are they doing? Kind of hitting on them bit. But it's look, you can't change a leopard's spots, right? So there always going to be a little bit of that going on with Gene and with Paul too. But it was still, there was an element of, still professionalism to it still. And a lot of it was, encouraging, I would say, because like you said, it seems like they're happy to be in each other's presence. They don't look like they want to rip each other's throats out, and which only could mean that the rest of the tour should go relatively smoothly. Fingers crossed, nobody gets sick or anything, and just let's get this tour done. Because while they haven't announced the final show yet, I don't think the further along this tour they get and get these dates knocked off, I think the quicker they might start thinking about that, and the next big anticipated thing will be on the horizon, right?
Yeah, so you kind of talked about a leopard and spots changing, which is a nice segue into the Three Sides episode this week, where they had mentioned that they had tried to get folks involved in organizing the Creatures Fest on the show to talk about things afterwards, and they said NDAs had been signed and they weren't able to talk about things. Just since none of us went there, let's go there. Lonnie,
Okay.
does it matter a fucking damn whether NDAs were signed in regards to Mr. Vincent and the Creatures Fest? And what's your take on it?
I think that's a major cop-out, honestly. Just be honest with the fans. Be honest with the people who paid. I mean, I didn't pay any money to go there, but be honest with the people who did pay to go there and to fly in from all over the country or the world, for that matter, to be there for this. Just be honest and say, I don't cares. Just tell us what really happened. Tell us, was this ever going to be, were certain things ever really going to be a reality? Or tell us, when did certain things that were advertised become not a reality? That's just what we promise is not going to happen, and we're not going to tell people because we don't want to start going down the refund train or whatever. But at what point did you know certain things? I just be honest with the people that are paying you. Because here, the people who put this on, they didn't lose money by putting this on. And I don't think they did it all so they could break even either. So just be honest. Be a good person and be honest. That's all. That's my take on it.
I'm glad we're going to talk about magic shortly. Ken?
Yeah, speaking about being honest.
You're muted, Ken.
I needed to sign the disclosure thing first. But wait a minute. The non-disclosure. So, I mean, what is there to protect here in this non-disclosure agreement? I mean, if it's for Vinny, there's nothing to disclose. If you're going to disclose anything that he's become become a fraud, right? So it's a lot of promises always, and always something. Whenever it's related to Vinny, it's something. It always seems to change. I don't know what they cannot disclose about the show itself, or when they planned one thing and then maybe something happened with Vinny, and then he started changing at the last minute what he was going to do or not do, and so on. Who knows? But it's just you can still disclose stuff without getting too detailed, but you can beat around the bush and say something, and we'll understand it. Okay, but it's like I said, it is a kind of a cop out. I agree with that. They just don't want to say, I think, and maybe there was no non-disclosure, and it's just an excuse, a story. So I don't know. It's just kind of, the whole thing's ridiculous.
I don't know. To me, non-disclosure requests come into a question of personal integrity. I've operated under non-disclosure agreements, verbal. I've operated under them in writing. I have, in my professional life, I deal with business trade secrets and often get advanced looks of things where you simply don't talk about them or even hint on fucking podcasts to make yourself seem important. But you have to ask yourself, why are you being asked to sign a non-disclosure agreement? And that's where personal ethics come into the equation for me. It's all, again, it's a very individual choice, and I've opted not to in some cases where I felt my integrity was going to be stretched to the point of, well, frankly, broken for the benefit of the person requesting for the non-disclosure agreement. And I was not willing to do that. So is there a non-disclosure agreement or not? I don't know. I heard a long time ago that person involved in the band had been sacked, when there was, an effort to put together a live performance. And I heard that third or fourth hand or fifth hand, it doesn't matter. So I think it's a sad state of affairs that you can't talk about the challenges organized. And I hope, clearly Bruce Kulick wasn't under NDA when he was talking about what an insane and surreal evening that was the night before, or how they didn't know there was going to be a drum machine until an hour before the performance, or how Vinny was going to be perched atop a tank doing his Pyro Messiah thing. So I think it's sad. I agree it's a cop-out. But I also think that no one really needs Vinnie Vincent drama to be explained to them, because since 2018, and even going back to the 1980s, there is nothing but a long trail of breadcrumbs of drama and changed promises and stretched truths, shall we say, depending on the perspectives of those who have told the stories. And again, that's all hearsay, so completely inadmissible. Mark, are you going to put me under NDA for the next time we're going to talk about you and the Lower Third Collective, or will I be free to discuss your music?
You're always free to discuss my music, Julian, anytime you want. But, this whole NDA thing kind of made me laugh a bit, because I can understand maybe signing, I can understand maybe signing one where you're not allowed to talk to it prior to an event. That maybe I can understand, because you want to keep it a surprise, maybe something, or you don't want to have certain things come out of the woodwork that might make people change their mind about going to an event. All right. So I can understand the NDA then, right? But now, after everything's said and done, I mean, most things that were a surprise have already been talked about a zillion times on boards and web podcasts and all kinds of things. So really, what is there left to talk about that's some big surprise that they can't talk about? I think that this whole thing is just one of those situations. I could be totally wrong. I don't know. But I'm thinking here that they just don't want to come out and confess how much of this complete chaos that happened they knew about beforehand, because then people will start going, well, what the fuck, dude? Why didn't you warn us that there wasn't going to be a band if you already knew a day or two beforehand? Then I wouldn't have waited 2 hours in line to see that if I knew. It's that kind of thing I think that people are trying to avoid. And, that's frankly, still a cop-out, because it's already been done. You can come out and clearly admit that happened without any kind of real repercussion. I mean, really, what's Vinny going to do now? I mean, his big thing was, he didn't want anybody to film anything. He didn't want anybody to record anything. But guess what, Vinny? It happened, and it's all over the internet. What's he going to do? Find every one of these individuals and sue them now? I highly doubt that's going to happen. So I just think it's ridiculous. I think that they could have came out and clarified a lot of things that people want to know. I guarantee the first thing people would want to know is what happened to the band, and why didn't they play with Vinny? I think that's the number one thing people would probably have asked for them to clear up. And what's wrong with clearing that up now? It's over and done with. It's not going to make any difference now.
I want to know why baseball's $500 to sign.
Or there you go. Or how early did they know this ridiculous sort of pricing system was going to happen? Because maybe if he knew before it even started that was going to happen.
No, it was written out with biro and hotel paper. That seems to be pretty. Well, actually, you never know, but that kind of suggests that it was.
It seemed like that was off the cuff.
Yeah.
Baseball, I don't know, 500. They're just kind of just spitballing what they're going to charge.
Yeah.
Yeah, $1,000. That sounds good. Gene Simmons gets that. All right. So, Lonnie, I triggered you. I said Magic, and there was a thread this week, and I've locked it all. I've already locked it on the FAQ because these things always end up with personal threats towards the person involved, and I simply cannot have that, and neither am I going to babysit and clean out the thread. So that's why I locked them. So none of you are going to make any sort of threats like that on this show, I know, but the thread was, at this point, could Magic possibly have anything that we haven't seen, taking into account everything that has kind of leaked since that project was announced, and tons of photo sets have come out. So obviously there's a sieve involved. Lonnie, what are your thoughts?
Well, could Magic possibly have anything we haven't seen? Well, first of all, we would have to see the book or see some actual pages of the book to know what it would be comprised of. So I mean, we did that episode with him, Julian. What was that, 2015 that we did that episode? Originally?
I don't. That's so long ago.
I think it was 2015 that he came on the show and told us about the book and what he was going to, and how it was going to have all these pictures that no one has ever seen before. And it was going to document every day in the life of the band from 74 to 82. And like you said, so much has come out since then. And it's hard for me to wrap my head around that was 2015 and we're approaching midway through 2022. And we've seen I almost nothing since then. But people, there it is. But people have,
hey, I thought I got rid of that.
The same damn hat.
But people have, literally bought into the GoFundMe for this. And what year was that?
Yeah, Mark. I thought I deleted his episodes.
What episode was that, Mark?
That is, I'll tell you in 1 second. It is episode 187.
Really?
Finally, the magic is back.
Oh, that was the second episode.
Yeah, that was number 2.
Yeah, that was the second time you had him on.
Yeah, shit show. Talking about taking a dump.
Oh, here we go. Episode 23.
Magic it was early.
Yeah,
it was early.
God, I'm almost afraid to put anyone on the show.
23
project.
But it's midway through 2022, and we have nothing. And we have nothing, but he has everyone's money.
Oh shit, Lonnie was on there.
I was on with you. I was in LA at the time.
Same hat again. There you go.
Same hat again.
Okay. Buy a new hat, will you?
No, I like this one. I only ever wear it when I do the show. Ken, when we talk about Magic and Dubai, I just thought I'd throw that in there gratuitously.
Okay. Dubai, Magic. Yeah. Well, Magic, yeah, yeah, I was very optimistic for the longest of time that it was gonna happen, but I think this last year, after all these years, this last year I'm just realize this. I'm never gonna see it. And if
Dubai or Magic?
Yeah, which one? Are you
Well,
liking?
maybe both. I'm never gonna. It may be perfectly true. Yeah, both of them. It's just. I just don't get it. Well, the Magic thing is gone so long that I just, it's like you can just throw your hands up in the air. Dubai has that slight chance, I think, of getting something or a refund, partially refund, if Doc is at all involved, possibly. But yeah, it's not looking good. The longer it goes on, and as with Magic, the longer these things go on, the more it's like, yeah, we got stiffed on this stuff, and unfortunately, forked out a bunch of money that could have been spent, better elsewhere, I guess.
On Kiss.
on a real Kiss licensed item or whatever. Or concert, even for that matter. So, yeah, it's disappointing. I'm just tired of it. It's just really disappointing that it seems that we're taking advantage of the fans. Kiss fans are taken advantage of, and people don't seem to care. That these people have spent money, well-earned money, and then just don't give a crap. It's sad.
Yeah, so you've received a product this week that you purchased off the internet. You spent your money, and it was sent to you from Germany.
Yeah, all the way from Germany. Shameless.
Yeah. New CD, fantastic
great.
Cover of Love Is Blind on there.
Bruce is on four. I think he's on 4 songs. Bruce Kulick, even, and some other special guests. It's very good. I mean, you order it, comes from even another country, and they give you what they promise. Yeah, sure, it's not $150, but still, if you're going to advertise and put it out there, and you're going to take people's money, you need to come back, and you need to give them what they paid for, or give them a refund, or give them something else that's
equal value.
Equal the value, yes. So
that they agree to.
Yeah, exactly.
Sending a random show.
Well, don't be dishonest and say, or like in Dubai, fashion. Oh, it's the band. The band needs to approve the band. We're still waiting on the band. Well, you've been waiting on the band for a year and a half. The same message, right? Oh yeah, the ships are stuck out in the ocean. We can't get the cargoes, and oh yeah, it's COVID.
Yeah, show me the order forms that show that you placed orders for all of that fucking merch.
Because they show the hat, right?
Where's your order for the LP?
Anything.
Yeah, anyone
could be
can
a prototype.
Have a hat made up.
It could be a prototype, whatever. Or if they just made up, let's just put this hat out here. See, put the Dubai letters, scribe Dubai on it, and see, we're going to give you something. But, I haven't seen it, so. And the other thing with Dubai, sorry, I'm just going to go on now, because the other stuff about the Blu-ray and stuff, they and the movie showing, right? Well, we can't do anything because we can't release the merchandise until this movie appears in the movie theater. I'm like, that's a bunch of bullshit. Sorry, excuse my language. I don't try to swear. Wow. So you got to throw some money in a jar. But yeah, come on. You don't have to wait until that to send people the sticks or hats, the posters, the whatever, all the other things. I can understand. Yeah, maybe you have to release the Blu-ray until the movie appears. Maybe. Whatever. It's just a joke at this point. They're as bad. Dubai, equals Magic kind of thing right now.
Yeah, I actually, well, I did download a copy of that cut. I'm almost tempted to rent the local cinema for a day and show it in the cinema and say, all right, it's been shown in the cinema,
KissFAQ showing, special showing, and we can all just go there and watch.
Here's the bad thing about that. And, I bet the band got paid. I'm sure the band got paid for that performance that they did in Dubai.
Yeah.
I'm sure Kiss got their money, and I'm not trying to say anything bad about the band, but I'm sure Kiss got paid, and the fans paid for their merchandise. I don't know if we really cared. I mean, and they're aware of this. Don't kid yourself that they don't know about this. And I know that we can say it's not the band's fault, that it's the other company's fault, but the band got paid, and the fans paid for something, make it right.
After a while, they have to take a bit of responsibility for it. It is their band that is being talked about in this negative light. They can say all they want that they don't have anything directly to do with it, but at the end of the day, most people don't give a shit. They just know that they didn't get their Kiss stuff.
They didn't get their Kiss product.
Yeah,
exactly
they didn't get their stuff from said company. They didn't get their
on
Kiss
Kiss
stuff
Online. That I purchased
exactly.
on Kiss Online, their website.
I like Ken's recommendation, the 5 Ds. Dubai, Des Moines, Donington, dumbasses, and what was the other one?
Muted.
You're muted.
Come on, Ken.
That kills the punchline.
You're better than that.
D's, Donington, disclosures.
Oh, disclosures.
Dubai, and dumbasses.
Yeah,
those are the 5 Ds. That's the name of this episode.
Yeah, so we've lost Mark for right now. I think my final thought on this is someone posted on the FAQ that they'd received a refund for Dubai this week by fighting with their credit card company and providing them all the documentation. Yeah. So on a positive note, that's one more refund than a Magic purchase has received this week. So this week is also the 40th anniversary of Kiss Killers. Now, some people say it's the 15th. Others say that it was the 18th. I think it's the 18th. That was listed in Kerrang. It doesn't matter. I want to read you Melody Maker's review of Kiss Killers. The worst bunch of old garbage they've ever heaped upon the rubbish-strewn ears of the fans. You could almost be talking about Dubai. Kiss Killers at 40. Lonnie, how's it aged?
Not bad. Pretty good. I like those 4 songs off Killers. They're better than a lot of what they had released for several years up until that point. They were trying to get back to their more rock type sound, and it was a good step in that direction before Creatures came out. And it's a good greatest hits package as well. So I think it's aged fine for what it is.
Can you hear me?
We can.
We can hear you.
Okay.
You're
Welcome back.
You dropped off, so now everyone's names are in the wrong space for this episode.
Yeah, we kind of played like the little musical chairs.
It's okay.
Good. But I think it's aged fine for what it is. A greatest hits with 4 tracks that were better than most stuff that was off of Unmasked or The Elder or but I think it's aged quite well.
I'm sorry, what am I missing here now?
Elder.
Killers at 40.
Killers at 40. Killers at 40.
Oh, okay.
How well is it aged? Ken, I hope you weren't trying to dig out that nice bit of German vinyl to rub salt in my wounds since I was the one who got a damaged copy.
I was trying to find it.
You lost it.
I put it. It's somewhere in here. A mix of vinyl.
You sold it on Discogs for $800, like all the other people seem to do with these limited edition releases. Mark, so Kiss Killers at 40. Thoughts on it?
It was one of those records, actually, that I remember buying very early in my Kiss fandom. I remember seeing it at the local record store, and I was immediately taken by that odd cover. with the kind of pink with the brown and all that. And I was like, what is this? And I remember seeing in the back that it was a import record. So I was like, right away, ooh, an import. Okay. So I went and bought it, and for years I just listened to it and thought it was great, and never really realized, because I was so new still to Kiss, that they were, those first 4 songs were not in any kind of studio album at that time and stuff like that. So all this stuff came a lot later. But I thought it's aged okay. I mean, those 4 songs are probably the reason to have it. The versions of the other songs in there are not terrible. It's not like they did a total complete, butchering job like they did on Smashes Thrashes with some of them. But it's okay. I don't mind that record. I have it on CD, and I have it on vinyl. I got the reissued one. I got all kinds of different versions, like those weird Casablanca red label ones from France and stuff like that. Like I really collected a lot of pressings of the Killers record over the years, because I did enjoy it. I mean, like I said, it has more connection to me because of how early on in my collecting I got that record, so it has a soft spot in my heart for that.
And it's the same story for me. I remember getting it at the Oakdale Mall in Johnson City, New York, and it was my first PSI cassette, Polygram Special Imports. They put a sticker on the back of these things when they'd get into channels in the U.S., and I was so new back then I didn't know where it fit in terms of its continuity. I liked the cover. I didn't know the context of it at that point, and ignorance is bliss at this point in my Kiss fandom, because everything was new and I knew nothing. So to this day, I hear those first chords of I'm a Legend Tonight, and I go back in time and have a happy feeling. I don't remember anything else about it. It's just those first notes of it. I thought those were 4 really good songs. I didn't understand at that point why it was mixed in with all this other stuff in the catalog, only that it had 4 songs. I think Kerrang's review was this would have made a really good EP, which is absolutely correct. And I guess that's one of those things I wish they'd still do on a fantasy basis for Record Store Day, is do a Killers EP with just those 4 songs, since they've done an absolutely gorgeous German pressing on that. Who haven't I talked on that?
Yes, me.
You. Yeah, you.
You.
Which I couldn't find the vinyl, but anyway, I mean, when I got it, I think we found it. My friend found it actually. Rasputin's, local place here. I remember seeing it in like Kerrang or something like that. I was like, what the hell is that? And then where's that? So I'm not seeing it at Tower Records or whatever. Yeah, I did finally get it, and then the 4 new songs was a surprise. It was very cool to have some new Kiss music after The Elder. It was like, oh, okay, they're it's back to rocking. I found it interesting though, the sound of it. Those songs though they sounded to me, while they were good, sounded like unfinished in a way. The production. Like they, put it out, kind of recorded them and put it out quick.
Rushed.
A little bit rushed, yeah. Not fully
realized
maybe. But, close enough. They were still good. And the other thing I remember is like, no Gene songs? Come on. At least give me one new Gene song, But otherwise, it was really cool to get something new, and at least new music, and then throwing some of the hits or, the classic songs on there was cool.
All right, last topic to wrap up on, and that is some previews of the Kiss Museum, or Gene Simmons Kiss World, or whatever it is.
His collection.
At the Rio in Las Vegas. Previews occurred or started this past weekend. Christine posted some video of a walkthrough of the displays. There have also been photos from people who attended. Anyone had a chance to check out the video or the videos, and what are your thoughts on that, Lonnie?
I've looked at some pictures of it, and it looks pretty cool. It looks, like what we had seen of Gene's house, like during Family Jewels type thing, is what it really looks like. It looks like Gene picked up his collection that was in that house on Family Jewels, and they've unpacked it and put it in the Rio. It looks cool. It looks like it's probably, although some people in FAQ may argue that theirs is better, but it looks like one of the biggest Kiss collection. Looks like the biggest Kiss collection in the world. I mean, there's anything and everything literally there. I think that's a good spot for it. I think that's where it belongs. Is right there next to the mini golf. I was able to. I actually did the mini golf back in March when I was in Vegas, and they had it kind of curtained off where they were building that museum, and I was kind of like try to peek over the curtain a little bit to see if I can see what was going on back there. But I think it's good that it's a little niche that they can just add into the mini golf thing, and when Kiss fans are just the average fan or just the average person is in Vegas and they see that, they go, oh, that's interesting. Where else are you gonna put it? Where else are you gonna put that? So I think it's cool. Why not?
It's a freaking shrine.
Correct.
It's good. It's perfect.
Yeah.
I wonder how Video Bob's doing on Eric Carr's Porsche, since he did a preview walkthrough of that as well. Come on, Video Bob, how about an update? Getting that freaking thing working or what?
Eric Carr's Porsche was covered with a tarp when I was there back in March.
Well, at least it was still there, because now it's gone. I've seen it there in the original location, and then at the Rio as well, which is very cool, along with the Beetle, which is neat. It's a perfect location to have it. And as Lonnie says, it's basically Gene's office from Family Jewels transplanted into Vegas. What perfect place is that? No matter what anyone's got in their collection, theirs is never going to be Gene Simmons' Kiss collection. And I've been freeze framing some of the videos, trying to spot stuff in the shelves. It's all mixed up. It's great. But the problem is you could actually spend a lot of time in there just kind of fixating on item by item. And that doesn't seem to be a very good in terms of, is there a cost of admission, or is it just something that you can go in, or what's the deal? And even more annoying to me is I would have been there this weekend for Aerosmith. And that was on. I booked extra day because they'd said that they had hoped to have it open by this weekend in order to do mini golf and be at the Rio for that. It was on my schedule. Ain't gonna get to do it now. Clearly, the real bummer. Ken.
Yeah, it looks cool. I mean, I haven't seen the video. I'll have to check that out. But I saw a number of pictures. Yeah, it looked like Gene's office, and hopefully there's a lot of extra stuff that wasn't in his office. Maybe there's other stuff he had in storage that he was able to then put in this place of other items that maybe weren't in his office, and maybe his office wasn't big enough because I'm sure this stuff goes on and on and on. And he may have had some storage either locally or in the warehouse or whatever. A lot of it's just merchandise. I would like to also see, costumes and original stuff, right? From their actual, touring and things like that. I don't think there's any costumes or anything like that, as far as I know. But I haven't seen the whole thing. But I think this mostly revolves around the merchandising end of Kiss, and the figures, the lamps, everything else that they put the Kiss logo on. So it looks cool. I'll have to try to get to Vegas and check it out.
Yeah, I'll probably go just for that. Mark was showing it right at the tail end of that video. In one of those display cases is his original 45 acetate for Lita, the Sanders one that you can see in the history book. He's still got. So that, unlike the one that I ended up with, the Richcraft, didn't make it into the auction. And I always wondered if that had accidentally slipped in. Like, I'm sure the Richcraft one with Stanley the Parrot, I can't imagine why on earth that made it in there, but I'm glad to see that he still has that and it's on display. That made me very happy. All the Hello Kitty shit, and all the Spencer's crap, you know what? I would go and walk through it just to see it. Because I won't buy it, but it doesn't mean I'm not interested in seeing what some of that merch is that I've not been interested in, and whether I feel I've missed out on anything. So why not? Mark, your thoughts on it before we wrap?
Well, this right now, as I was showing it to you, was the first time I saw it. So this is new to me as well. I didn't even know that they were doing this. So it sounds like something very, very interesting to check out. I like this kind of stuff where you can see, archived history of, a collection like that. It's a lot of stuff that I would never buy myself. Like I said, I'm more of an audio person. I'm more into like guitars and vinyl and stuff like that. But the merch thing was never something that I got into too much, because I knew that there was so much of it for Kiss that if you were to go down that rabbit hole and you are one of these completist type people, man, you need a lot of money and a lot of time and patience to get a lot of this stuff. But it looks interesting. Like you guys said, it's probably a good excuse to go to Las Vegas. And I would be up for going to see it. So, would be cool to go check it out. I wonder who will be the first of us to go and see it.
Hey, for a weekend in Vegas and you go see the Gene Simmons, Kiss World thing and grab a round of mini golf, like Lonnie said, he grabbed a round while he was there. It's something fun to do. All right, that's this episode, which Ken has christened the 5 Ds.
Title.
Donington, Disclosures, Des Moines, Dubai, and Dumbasses. What are you alluding to there, Ken? That's it.
We're the dumbasses.
Yeah.
Myself.
Yeah, right here. I'm
Look
here.
in the mirror.
All right, that's it for this week. So that's a whole bunch of topics from the board. What's your thoughts on each one of these? What haven't we missed? Which one of us do you think was falling asleep on this episode? Should we take off the glasses? What are we doing wrong? Do we annoy you?
Tired of watching us.
Yeah, after all these years,
Your
you're
new
tired
hat.
of us. Yeah, hate my hat, hate Lonnie's T-shirt, and no doubt someone's going to say "Go Celtics." Well, either they will or they won't. That's it for this week. So from Lonnie, Ken, Mark, and myself, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Thank you for spending time listening to the KissFAQ podcast today. All sales are final. There are no refunds. If you'd like, look us up on Facebook or come over to the KissFAQ message board and discuss the topic we've broadcast today. Don't forget to rate us on iTunes, Spreaker, or wherever you've listened to the show. We hope you'll join us again.